And in the last verse, قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ إِنْ أَصْبَحَ مَاؤُكُمْ غَوْرًا فَمَنْ يَأْتِيكُمْ بِمَاءٍ مَعِينٍ. That just think, Allah is telling His Prophet, peace be upon him, to tell the people, just think, if all your water were to sink deep into the earth, فَمَنْ يَأْتِيكُمْ بِمَاءٍ مَعِينٍ, then who could possibly bring you flowing water in its place? And here, as is often the case, that the first and last verses, or the beginning portion of the surah and the end of the surah, kind of come together. There's a coherence between them, right? That at the beginning, the very first verse was what? تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ الْمُلْكُ وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. That blessed is the one, or He is the source of all blessings, the one in whose hand is all control. وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. And He is in control, has power over every little thing. And then the very last verse is saying, reminding the people, giving them an example, which obviously, especially at the time of revelation, in the heat, right, in the desert, okay, one which will hit home, hopefully, is just for them to think that in this environment, if all of your water, and water is amongst the greatest blessings of Allah. I mean, there is no life on this earth without water. Which is why it comes up so many different times in the Quran in different ways. There is no, so there's so many ways to think about and to observe and to take lessons from water. Just imagine if it all disappeared, got sunk into the ground, deep in, Zamzam and everything, and all disappeared, went deep in. فَمَنْ يَأْتِيكُمْ بِمَاءٍ مَعِينٍ. Who would bring you with flowing water? So, just to recap now, and I know we're coming up to Salatul Isha soon, and the adhan will be given. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to link it back to the very first thing we mentioned. What was the first things that we mentioned about the Surah al-Mulk? What is its power or its capability? Right, so it intercedes, and you were going to say anything else?
Preventing us from the punishment of the grave.
Right, preventing from the punishment of the grave, right, and that we are encouraged to recite it every night. Now, if we go through an experience every night, something which is similar to maybe the experience that we've gone through this evening, right, or some compressed version of it, meaning reflecting and thinking upon the things that we have just been discussing. You tell me, what are the lasting, what lasts with you? What do you feel when you think now about Allah in the context of this surah? The one who has revealed this, the one who has spoken these words to us. What is it that you feel? What are you left with?
Being grateful for what you have.
Being grateful? Humility.
His power and majesty.
His power and majesty.
A need for Him.
Right, a need. That we feel our need for Allah.
He's got power for everything. He's bigger than all the kingdoms, all the masters.
Yeah, right. So He's power over everything, and He's bigger, over any kingdom, any master that exists. He is bigger than all of that. So you can see, obviously, the name of the surah being Mulk, kingdom, dominion, sovereignty, control, right? And it's, as we said, it's like the entire surah is just a way to keep telling us, whether you look up, whether you look down, whether you look inside yourselves, this life, next life, whatever way you want to square it, and you want to frame it, you want to look at it, you want to observe it, you want to think about it. The reality is that you, O human being, are in need. You will come to an end. Everything you have, none of it is from yourself. None of it is from yourself. All the knowledge, your faculties, your capabilities, your provisions, everything you have, is from Allah. Everything you have is from Allah. So don't be, therefore, amongst the arrogant. Don't be amongst those who turn away. Don't be amongst those who becomes too proud and haughty with what they have. Rather, be people of humility. Be people who remember Him. Say, as the penultimate verse says, هُوَ الرَّحْمَنْ آمَنَّا بِهِ وَعَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْنَا. He is the Lord of mercy. We believe in Him and we rely upon Him. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us internalize and to become a companion of this surah. So that this surah of 30 verses can truly be, as per the hadith, something that prevents us from the punishment of the grave. And the implication perhaps is that somebody who truly has internalized this, and the surah being one that is making so many kind of arguments and points and debates, and the one who's really internalized this, then it is only right that the surah will come back and then almost advocate on our behalf. It's like comes as your lawyer. And it's not just any old lawyer, it's like the best top barrister, that comes and says, this guy, this girl, this man, this woman, they were good. They internalized me, so now Allah internalizes this person in your home, in paradise. Save them from the punishment of the grave. Don't allow your punishment to fall upon them, because they were truly a companion of this surah. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a discipline. Try and establish a discipline, perhaps in your homes, with yourselves, amongst yourselves, to recite the surah before you sleep. Perhaps, inshallah, to even memorize the surah. Like Surah al-Kahf. Like when I was young, my mum said, just recite Surah Kahf every Friday. So after 2-3 years, you just end up memorizing it because you just recite it every Friday, right? So just you recite it. If you recite it every night, maybe inshallah you will even memorize it, internalize it, become a companion. Keep exploring its meanings. There's so many online you can look at. There's hours and hours of discussions just on the surah, right? We've only covered very little amount. I want to conclude by thanking the masjid for facilitating this event. MashaAllah, it's so good to see so many of you here today. Especially the youngsters, the youth. Hope you've managed to. They've survived. They've been very brave, MashaAllah. So congratulations. And inshallah, look out for subsequent events. Inshallah, there's nothing planned specifically at the moment, but we will continue, inshallah, maybe in a month or two, perhaps in the winter time, with more intense kind of Quranic discussions. Jazakallah khair. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it a source of benefit for us all. Astaghfirullah li wa lakum wa lisa'il muslimin. I seek forgiveness for myself, for you, and for all of the believers. Fastaghfiru innahu huwal ghafurur rahim. Seek His forgiveness. He is the most forgiving, the most merciful. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.